the white silk tears like a scream. Trevor's hands shake as fabric rips between his fingers, beading scattering across marble floors like fallen stars. Amara collapses, her 6-month pregnant belly hitting the ground as she tries to save what's left of her wedding gown. The sound she makes, half gasp, half sob, will haunt him for the rest of his life. "You think you can just replace me?" he shouts, his voice cracking with rage he doesn't fully understand. But Trevor doesn't know the ceremony starts in 2 hours. He doesn't know about the 500 guests waiting downstairs in Lagos's most exclusive hotel. He doesn't know that the man Amara is marrying owns half the tech companies in West Africa. He doesn't know that in 60 seconds, Vincent Adebayo, billionaire, philanthropist, and the man who taught Amara to believe in love again, will walk through that door. All Trevor knows is the blood beginning to stain the destroyed gown beneath his ex-wife's trembling hands. 2 years ago, Amara believed marriage meant forever. She believed it on her wedding day to Trevor Okonkwo, when his mother, Mrs. Okonkwo, wore black to the ceremony and refused to smile in photographs. She believed it through 24 months of criticism, of being told she wasn't sophisticated enough, wasn't from the right family, didn't earn enough as a primary school teacher to match Trevor's marketing executive salary. She believed it even when she found Vanessa's lipstick in Trevor's car. "It's not what you think," Trevor had said, but his eyes were already somewhere else. Somewhere that didn't include the woman who'd supported him through his father's death, who'd prayed with him through his business struggles, who'd loved him when he had nothing. Mrs. Okonkwo made the decision easier. "My son deserves better," she told Amara during their final confrontation. "You've trapped him long enough." Trapped. The word cut deeper than any affair could. Trevor moved out on a Tuesday. Amara discovered she was pregnant the following Monday. Her hands trembled as she held the test, pink lines blurring through tears. She called Trevor immediately, hope and fear tangled in her throat. "We need to talk. It's important." He met her at a cafe, Vanessa waiting in his car outside. "I'm pregnant, Trevor. 8 weeks. The silence stretched like broken glass. Then, "You planned this. You're trying to trap me back into this marriage." "Trap you? Trevor, this is your child. Get rid of it or don't. Either way, I'm done." He stood, leaving money for coffee he hadn't drunk. "My lawyer will send the papers." The divorce finalized 3 months later. Trevor refused paternity tests, refused support, refused everything except his freedom. Amara moved to a smaller apartment, worked through morning sickness, and learned to build a life from ruins. She deleted social media. She disappeared from their old circles. She let Trevor and his mother and Vanessa believe they'd won. What they didn't know was that Amara was already learning to smile again. 6 months after the divorce, Amara posted a single Instagram photo. Her hand resting on her rounded belly, sunset behind her, caption reading "New Beginnings." Trevor saw it at midnight, alone in bed while Vanessa slept beside him. Something twisted in his chest. Something ugly and possessive that he'd convinced himself was love. He stared at Amara's glowing face until his phone battery died. For months earlier, Amara had attended a charity gala she nearly skipped. The prenatal healthcare fundraiser was held at Eco Hotel, and Amara only went because her principal had bought a table for the school staff. She wore a simple navy dress that accommodated her growing belly, and tried not to feel out of place among Lagos's elite. "You look radiant." She turned to find a man in an impeccably tailored suit, warm brown eyes, salt and pepper beard, smile that reached his eyes in a way that felt genuine. "Thank you, but I think you're being kind." "I'm Vincent Adebayo," he said, extending his hand. "And I never lie about important things." Vincent. Amara knew the name. Everyone did. His tech empire had revolutionized mobile banking across Africa. His foundation funded hospitals, schools, orphanages. Forbes called him Africa's most eligible bachelor, until he stopped doing interviews. "I know who you are," Amara said carefully. "I'm Amare. Just a teacher." "Just a teacher," Vincent repeated, something sad flickering across his face. "My mother was a teacher. She used to say teachers build nations one child at a time. There's no just about it." They talked for 3 hours. About education, about faith, about the baby Amara was carrying alone. Vincent listened with an intensity that felt like being seen for the first time in years. When she mentioned her divorce, he nodded slowly. "I was engaged once," he said quietly. "She died in a car accident 5 years ago. For a long time, I thought I'd buried my heart with her. But life has a way of surprising us." Their courtship unfolded in secret. Not from shame, but from protection. Vincent understood that Amara needed privacy, needed to heal without judgment from people who'd watched her marriage collapse. They met at his private estate, at quiet restaurants in neighboring cities, in gardens where no cameras could find them. Vincent never flinched at her pregnancy. He attended doctor's appointments, assembled baby furniture, read parenting books with the same focus he brought to business deals. "This child is part of you," he said simply. "That makes them precious to me." 5 months later, Vincent proposed at sunset on his yacht. "Marry me," he said. "Not because you need saving, but because we choose each other. Every day. Deliberately." Amara said yes through tears. They planned a wedding for 2 months later. Amara kept it off social media, sharing only vague hints of happiness. Photos of flowers, glimpses of joy, captions about blessings. Let people wonder. Let them guess. Her life was hers again. But Trevor was watching every post with growing obsession. His life with Vanessa had curdled into resentment. She criticized his salary, compared him to her ex-boyfriends, made him feel smaller every day. His mother no longer called, ashamed, perhaps, of the son she'd pushed into abandoning his pregnant wife. Trevor scrolled through Amara's Instagram at 2 a.m., anger building like fever. "She's mocking you," Vanessa whispered, watching over his shoulder. "Probably found some desperate man to play father to your bastard. You should remind her who she really is." The poison took root. Trevor hired a private investigator, who worked for 3,000 naira, and questionable ethics. The report came back in 72 hours. Subject: Amara Okonkwo attending wedding dress fittings. Ceremony scheduled for Saturday, November 18th, Wheatbaker Hotel, Victoria Island. The investigator didn't know the groom's identity. That detail cost extra. Trevor didn't pay for extra. He assumed Amara had found some ordinary man. Some fool willing to raise another man's child. The thought burned like acid. She was supposed to suffer. She was supposed to regret losing him. He got the hotel address Wednesday night. By Friday evening, he'd made his decision. Saturday morning, Trevor wore his best suit and bribed a hotel worker 200,000 naira to tell him Amara's room number. He took the elevator up, rage and righteousness singing in his blood. He had no idea what waited on the other side of that door. Amara stood before the full-length mirror, 6 months pregnant, glowing with the kind of happiness that only comes after surviving darkness. The wedding gown was custom-made, white silk with delicate gold threading that caught the morning light, designed to accommodate her belly while making her feel beautiful. Vincent had insisted on the best designer in Lagos. "You deserve to feel like the queen you are," he'd said. Her phone buzzed. "Vincent. Can't wait to see you in 30 minutes. I love you." She smiled, touching her belly. The baby kicked as if in agreement. In 2 hours, she'd walk down the aisle to a man who chose her, baggage and all. In 2 hours, her old life would finally, officially be over. The door burst open. Amara spun around, heart lurching. Trevor. Her ex-husband stood in the doorway, wild-eyed, chest heaving. Security would come. She'd pressed the panic button Vincent insisted every room have. But for now, she was alone with a man she no longer recognized. "You think you can just replace me?" Trevor's voice cracked. "Move on like our marriage meant nothing. Trevor, you need to leave. Right now." Amara kept her voice steady despite the fear rising in her throat. "Security is coming." "Who is he?" Trevor moved closer. "Who's desperate enough to marry you? To take on my child?" "Your child?" Amara's voice turned to ice. "You called this baby a trap. You told me to get rid of it. You have no right. I have every right." Trevor grabbed the wedding gown hanging beside the mirror. "You're still my wife. We're divorced, Trevor. You made that choice." Something broke in his eyes. "Then you don't need this." He pulled. The sound of tearing silk filled the room like violence. Amara lunged forward, trying to stop him, trying to save the beautiful dress that represented her new beginning. Her foot caught on the room's step-up platform. She fell hard, her pregnant belly hitting the marble floor with sickening impact. The pain was immediate and terrible. "Oh God," Trevor breathed, seeing her crumpled form. "Amara, I didn't. Get away from me." Blood seeped through her slip, staining the destroyed gown pieces beneath her. "Get away." The door slammed open. Vincent Adebayo filled the doorway, security team behind him, and Trevor's world tilted. He recognized that face from billboards, from magazine covers, from the news programs his mother watched religiously. This wasn't some ordinary man. This was Vincent Adebayo, billionaire, philanthropist, the man his mother had called the perfect gentleman 100 times. This was the man Amara was replacing him with. "Step away from her." Vincent's voice was controlled, but murder flickered in his eyes. "Now." Trevor stumbled backward, watching as Vincent dropped to his knees beside Amara, cradling her with infinite gentleness. "Baby, I'm here. Stay with me." "The baby," Amara gasped. "Vincent, the baby." "Security, hold him." Vincent's voice turned to steel as he lifted Amara carefully. "And call the police. I want him arrested for assault, breaking and entering, and anything else my lawyers can think of." Trevor felt hands grip his arms. Through the chaos, paramedics rushing in, Vincent carrying Amara toward the elevator, hotel staff blocking escape routes. One thought echoed in Trevor's mind. What have I done? The video went viral in 3 hours. Security footage showed everything. Trevor bribing his way into the hotel, forcing his way into Amara's suite, the struggle, her fall. Vincent's legal team released it to every media outlet in Nigeria within an hour of Amara reaching the hospital. By evening, Trevor Okonkwo was the most hated man in Lagos. Billionaire's pregnant bride attacked by jealous ex-husband, screamed the headlines. Trevor's face appeared on every news channel. Being arrested, being perp-walked to a police car, his expression shell-shocked and broken. Social media erupted in fury. He destroyed her wedding dress while she was pregnant. Vincent Adebayo was going to marry her? And this fool attacked her. He deserves prison forever. Trevor sat in a holding cell, watching his life disintegrate through the small TV mounted in the corner. His company sent termination papers within hours. No executive wanted association with the man who'd assaulted a pregnant woman on her wedding day. His apartment lease would be terminated. His bank accounts were already frozen pending civil litigation. Vanessa posted on Instagram, "I barely knew Trevor Okonkwo and deeply regret any association with him. My thoughts are with the victim." She blocked his number before his lawyer could even call her for a statement. His mother arrived at the police station at midnight. Mrs. Okonkwo looked 20 years older than she had a week ago. She sat across from Trevor in the consultation room, hands trembling, eyes red from crying. "What have you become?" she whispered. "Mama, I didn't mean. You destroyed a pregnant woman's wedding dress. You caused her to fall. Do you understand what you've done?" Mrs. Okonkwo's voice cracked. "I pushed you to leave her. I made you think she wasn't good enough. And you became a monster." "She was marrying him, Mama. Vincent Adebayo. She was moving on." His mother's voice rose. "Like she had every right to do. You divorced her, Trevor. You abandoned your child. And when she found happiness, you tried to destroy it. Is she?" Trevor couldn't finish the sentence. Mrs. Okonkwo stood, tears streaming down her face. "She's alive. The baby is alive. But there's damage, Trevor. Permanent damage. And you did that." She left without looking back. Trevor's lawyer arrived the next morning with news that felt like execution. "You're facing 3 years minimum for assault and breaking and entering." Vincent Adebayo's legal team is also filing a civil suit for emotional damages, medical costs, and trauma. Even if you liquidate everything, you'll be bankrupt and in debt for the rest of your life. "I want to apologize," Trevor said desperately. "I want to see her, to explain. She has a restraining order against you. You're never seeing her again." The lawyer closed his briefcase. "If I'm honest, Mr. Okonkwo, you're lucky Vincent Adebayo believes in the legal system. Otherwise, you might not have survived the arrest." For 3 days, Trevor existed in a fog of shock and regret. He watched the news obsessively. Amara was still in the hospital. The baby was in danger. Vincent had postponed the wedding indefinitely, choosing to stay by her side instead. On the fourth day, Trevor saw his face labeled, Nigeria's Most Hated Man, on a morning talk show. The host asked her panel, "What drives a man to such cruelty?" Trevor had no answer. Amara woke in the hospital to Vincent's hand holding hers. The baby. Her voice was hoarse from screaming, from surgery, from terror. "Fighting," Vincent said, tears on his cheeks. "Just like her mother." Her. A girl. Amara touched her stomach, now smaller, now empty. "She's not inside me anymore?" They had to deliver early. 30 weeks. She's in NICU, but she's breathing on her own. Vincent pressed his forehead to hers. "You saved her, Amara. When you fell, you protected your belly. The doctors said that made the difference." Relief washed through her, followed by pain sharp enough to make her gasp. The doctor came in with news that settled like stones in her stomach. "You have a fractured pelvis and significant nerve damage in your left leg. You'll walk again, but there will be permanent mobility issues. A limp, at minimum. Possibly chronic pain." Permanent. That word echoed in the sterile room. "I don't care about my leg," Amara whispered. "Is my daughter going to be okay?" We're cautiously optimistic. The next 72 hours are critical. Vincent never left her side. He canceled business trips, rescheduled meetings, turned his entire empire over to his executive team. When Amara could finally use a wheelchair, he took her to NICU every 3 hours to see their daughter through the glass. Tiny, hooked to machines but alive. "I'm supposed to be walking down the aisle to you," Amara said one night, tears falling. "In a beautiful dress, healthy and whole." "Then we'll have our wedding when you're ready," Vincent said simply. "In a hospital chapel if necessary. With you in a wheelchair or on crutches or dancing if that's what you want. I'm not marrying a dress or a ceremony, Amara. I'm marrying you." 3 weeks later, with Amara's daughter stable enough to be moved, they married in the hospital chapel. Amara wore a simple white dress, Vincent in a suit. Their daughter in an incubator 5 meters away monitored by 2 nurses. The pastor kept it brief. Amara's leg throbbed despite medication. But when Vincent said, "I do," his eyes held a conviction that made permanent damage feel like just another obstacle they'd overcome together. Trevor's trial happened 2 months later. Amara didn't attend. She was learning to walk with crutches, raising her daughter. They'd named her Hope. And building a life where Trevor Okonkwo was nothing but a painful memory. Vincent's lawyers handled everything. The verdict: 3 years imprisonment for assault and criminal damage. The civil suit added financial ruin. Trevor would spend decades repaying medical costs and damages he could never actually afford. Mrs. Okonkwo came to the hospital one afternoon, holding flowers and grief. "I don't expect forgiveness," she told Amara quietly. "I just need you to know I'm sorry. For everything I said, everything I encouraged. I destroyed my son. And I nearly destroyed you." Amara accepted the flowers but said nothing. Some wounds were too deep for absolution. 1 year later, Amara stood in her new home's garden. Vincent's estate that now felt like hers too. Hope toddled toward her, chubby legs unsteady but determined. Amara walked to meet her daughter, her limp pronounced but manageable. The cane in her left hand a permanent companion. Vincent captured the moment on his phone. Mother and daughter, both survivors, both learning to walk in their own time. In prison, Trevor saw that photo on a news segment about Vincent's charitable work. There was Amara, smiling despite the cane, Hope in her arms, Vincent's hand on her shoulder. The headline: Tech billionaire Vincent Adebayo and wife Amara launch foundation for single mothers. Trevor's letters to Amara, dozens of them, filled with apologies and regrets, remained unopened, returned to sender every time. He'd destroyed something beautiful in a moment of rage. He'd scarred a woman who'd only ever loved him. He'd nearly killed his own daughter. A daughter he'd never meet, who would grow up calling another man daddy. In the prison chapel, Trevor finally understood what his mother had tried to tell him. You can't undo broken. You can't erase scars. You can only live with the man you became in the moment that mattered most. Amara walked with a limp for the rest of her life, a permanent reminder of Trevor's cruelty. But she also walked forward, Hope's hand in hers, Vincent beside her, building a future where pain didn't get the final word. Some actions carry consequences that last forever. Some pain never fully heals. But sometimes, on the other side of destruction, survivors build something even stronger than what was broken. Trevor had destroyed a wedding dress and shattered a body, but Amara had survived. And in the end, that was the only justice that truly mattered.